is through my connections and through my network, I've met some of the most remarkable thought leaders in the world, and some of the most remarkable experts. And what I found about connections, someone either had, I live in Hollywood these days, and in Hollywood they say it's not always what you know, a lot of times it's who you know. And the topic we're going to talk about today, I literally know very little about, but my expert knows a ton about. So Seth Green is a nationally recognized direct response marketing expert. He is the only person in history that Dan Kennedy has nominated for Marketer of the Year 2 years in a row. He's the author of 5 best-selling books, including the very well-named Cutting Edge Marketing Magic. And Seth has been featured in real media like CBS Money Watch, CBS News, the LA Times, the Miami Herald, the #1 morning show in New York City. So here's the thing that I found interesting. I was at a mastermind meeting with him, and he made a couple of comments to me. And he said, what if you could acquire, or what if you could clone your very best customers? And what if you could target and acquire your competitors' best customers? Well, in a nanosecond, he got my attention. And I was really intrigued on what he was talking about. And then since that time, like I said, I've went out and introduced him to some of the most successful marketers that I know on the planet, because what he's doing is very, very unique. So he's spoken on the stage with Dan Kennedy, Jeff Mass from Infusionsoft. Dan Kennedy, like I said, really speaks glowingly of him. And he represents everyone from local brick and mortar companies to thought leaders to Fortune 500 companies. And he's one of the fastest growing direct response marketing firms in the country, based out of Buffalo, New York, Marketing Domination. So anyway, Seth, welcome to the webinar. I'm excited. I'm going to be taking some notes, and I'm going to turn this sucker over to you, and we'll go from there.
Well, thanks. Thank you, Larry. It is an honor to be here, and I am very humbled and flattered to get to serve your community. A lot of the folks that you have been introducing us to and meeting with are people I have been looking up to my whole career, so it is an honor. I pinch myself every day. I get to serve the folks whose events I went to when I was growing up in this business. I now get to serve them. They're our clients. They're my mentors. They're our friends. So it's been an absolutely incredible, incredible journey to get to the point where, I'm now known as the Facebook Ninja. So I appreciate you having me here, and I hope that we're able to add some immense value to the folks who show up and the folks who watch the replay, and that they get a lot out of it.
Share some of your ninja strategies on how you're driving all these customers for people's funnels, events, webinars, stuff like that.
Absolutely. So, that you asked. So, how many of you folks on the webinar want me to show you the exact system that's generating, for one client, 270 opt-ins for only $250.95? Another client, 28 event attendees. That's butts in the seats at a seminar for only $1.91 each. 16,502 ideal prospects to a website for 5 cents each. 29 new customers, that's new sales at $95.05, and 41 strategy sessions filled for $2.71 each. So, believe me, it is something to smile about, and we love making our clients happy by delivering those kind of results.
Those sound like great results. Awesome.
Thank you. Now, obviously, the first thing you have to have is you've got to have a Facebook fan page for your business. You want to raise your hand in the chat box. How many of you have Facebook fan pages for your business? Okay, everybody. Good. But how many of you feel like this guy? Like every week there's another new social network that's supposed to be the latest, greatest new thing you've got to be on. And who has time to customize content for Facebook, Google+, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, Pinterest, Instagram, Snapchat. There's another one tomorrow. And you can't possibly have time all the hours in the day to get all this done, which is why you have teams or companies or people that you outsource this to. But how do you stay on top of all of this stuff, right? How many of you have a competitor who's got more customers than you do, but you know that you do a better job than they do? And it drives you nuts, right? If I could show you a way to put your marketing message in front of your competition's customers, how many of you would want to get that? Lots of people. Okay, good. Imagine what your business would look like if you had prospective new customers interacting with you every day on autopilot, and these some of you have that already, but I'm not talking about just anybody who goes and let's say opts in on your website. I'm talking about laser focused, micro niche target marketed ideal customers, and we're going to talk about how that happens. See, if you had asked me 2 years ago, should I be marketing on Facebook? In all honesty, I probably would have said no. Just a few short years ago, marketing on Facebook was a giant waste of time and money. And I know that's heresy for a social media marketing guru to tell you, but it was the truth. We didn't do much for our clients on Facebook a couple of years ago because the way their ad platform set up, it just wasn't ideal. We would get better results, still doing good old fashioned Google AdWords pay per click than we did on Facebook. But something changed. See, every one of you has one of these in your wallet, or if not 5 or 10 of them, credit cards. But here's the thing. When you signed a contract with Visa or MasterCard, that contract said that Visa swore they would never sell your data. They haven't. They told you the truth. However, here's the catch. When you go into your local Starbucks, for example, you swipe your card through a credit card terminal. That credit card terminal is provided by a credit card processing company. Do you know who that credit card processing company is? Of course not. Nobody does. That company doesn't have a relationship with you as a person. They have no contract with you. They have a contract with Starbucks, the merchant. And those credit card processing companies can sell your data. They can do whatever they want with it. Now, this isn't news. They have literally been selling your data for decades and decades. And they're selling it for direct mail only. So if you wanted to, you could go to a list broker and you could buy a list and say, get me everybody in the country who's attended a Get Rich in Real Estate course in the last 30 days. And that would be a hotline data. Hottest of hotline data was 30 days old. It would be cheaper to get data 60 days old, cheaper still to get data 3 months old. But the hottest data was they attended a real estate workshop or bought a book 30 days ago. Now, in order to access that data, you had to buy a ton of it. In order to make it cost effective from a marketing perspective, you literally had to be mailing millions of pieces a month to get that data and make it cost effective on a per person basis. So that's not new. What's new is that we can now append that data to social media in almost real time, within 24 hours of when something happens. And on social media, we can advertise per click or per conversion, as opposed to buying a million pieces of data and mailing a million pieces and hoping some of it works. Now, I can put an ad in your customer's news feed based on what they had for lunch yesterday, based on what book they bought, based on what product they bought, based on what event they bought tickets for, and I can do it within 24 hours of when it happens. And if you're paying per click, that means you could have 1 million people see your ad, 10 people click on it, you only pay for those 10 people who are interested enough to go to your website. So
Seth,
yep,
can I ask you a question?
of course.
So take my friend Noah St. John. So let's just say he feels Tony Robbins customer or a Brendan Burchard customer. You're able to literally, with precision is what you're saying, identify who bought Tony Robbins' book yesterday, last week, last month. And then then you're only queuing up an ad for, let's say I bought the book, and Noah St. John feels that's the perfect, because he's in personal development, that's a perfect customer for him because he's a Tony Robbins customer. Is that what you're saying?
That is
That kind of precision
yes,
marketing?
that is exactly what we're doing. We actually have a client in the personal development space that we've done some campaigns for that were very successful. In this case, he was going after Deepak Chopra's customers. So we were running ads in front of Deepak Chopra customers and driving them through, get this free manifestation MP3 group, get these 3 free CDs about how to make the law of attraction manifest in your life the way Deepak Chopra does. And we were absolutely crushing it because, again, they already bought something. A buyer is a buyer is a buyer. So you don't want to just put an ad in front of Deepak Chopra's fans on Facebook because not everybody who's a fan has bought anything. But if you could just target the people who bought something, it changes the game.
Right. So you're basically targeting buyers versus just fans. So that's a game changer.
Absolutely. So the ability to append this data to mine it and append it to social media has existed for about 9 months. So it's relatively new. But if you think about it, when Google AdWords came out 15 years ago, if you could have mastered it when it just came out, you could have made a fortune because you could buy clicks for pennies back then. I mean, there were people who just did click arbitrage. They would buy clicks for 5 cents and sell them for 10 cents and make a fortune. That's what this is because this data is so new. It's the wild, wild west right now because no one has access to it and no one's doing it. So who do we do this for? Larry mentioned everyone from bricks and mortar retail to thought leaders to Fortune 500 companies. I'm sure you recognize this smiling guy, Jack Canfield, best-selling author on the planet with Chicken Soup for the Soul. We recently did some work for his last launch, which I'll show you, which worked really, really well. But I didn't start out as the Facebook ninja. I literally went to Syracuse University. I majored in drama. I was going to become a Broadway star. That's what I wanted to do. And it obviously didn't work out that way. My senior year, three of my friends and I decided to produce an interactive murder mystery musical. The Mystery of Edwin Drood, where the audience picks the killer, they pick the ending, and the ending song changes 20 different ways. So we started a student government organization. We raised the money, and we were off to the races. I'm producing my first musical. And 6 weeks before opening night, the Student Government Association says we need to meet with you. And they said, we're so sorry we screwed up. You're a first-time student organization. We can't possibly give you that much money. We shouldn't have given you that much money. We need to cut your budget in half. And I said, our show's in 6 weeks. We already have sets built. We have a cast. We're rehearsing. We're ready to go. All the kids' parents have plane tickets and hotel rooms. What are we supposed to do? And they said, well, find a way to make the money or cancel the show. Now, there's a movie, one of my favorite movies, Top Gun, with Tom Cruise. And in Top Gun, the guy who plays his admiral, the bald guy who chomps cigars, has a line. And he tells Tom Cruise, son, your ego's writing checks your body can't cash. Well, my ego wrote a check. I didn't want to close the show and be a failure. So I took out the brilliant move. I took out 5 pre-approved credit cards. I charged the remaining budget of the musical on my credit cards, and my friends and I agreed that whatever money was left over after ticket sales at the end when we graduated, they would both get credit cards. We'd do balance transfers, and we'd each take a third of the debt that was left. Well, the show was a hit in terms of it went off well. I didn't know anything about marketing at the time, so we didn't sell enough tickets. Graduation came along, and I said, okay, guys, I'm stuck with this giant credit card bill. You got to take your third of it. Well, they did something I didn't do. They went to their parents and asked for permission to go get credit cards to take on the debt. And their parents, of course, said no frickin' way, which is what my parents would have said if I asked, but I didn't. So I no longer have those friends. They're not my friends anymore. And I got stuck with a very, very large credit card bill that I had no way to pay back. So I ended up having to go bankrupt because I tried making the payments for a year. I tried debt consumer counseling and debt consolidation, but I literally owed so much money. I owed more than the first year salary that I made at my job when I graduated. I literally owed like 2 to 3 times that in credit card debt. I couldn't pay it back, so I had to go bankrupt. And based on that, I had borrowed money that I didn't have to produce something I knew nothing about, and it didn't work out. I decided based on that lousy financial decision, I should become a financial advisor and teach people how not to do that. So if you've ever seen this movie Boiler Room, I started out as this guy. Interestingly enough, his character's name is Seth, played by Giovanni Ribisi. The only difference between what he did and what I did was legal. So I worked for a major Fortune 500 financial services company, and I went to my training program. I came back, and my manager says, I bought you a book where all your clients are going to come from for the rest of your career. I got super excited. I'm 22. I'm young and dumb. I start thinking about the Ferrari I'm going to buy. I start thinking about the apartment I'm going to get. I'm mentally spending all this money. And I said, okay, give me the book. He reaches behind his desk, puts it on the desk with a thud. It is literally the phone book. And he says, they're all in there, Tiger. Go get them. And I didn't know any better. So I made 300 cold calls a day, interrupting strangers, asking them for money for 5 years in a row. And anyone who has done that knows outbound cold telemarketing is not the most fun way to make a living. I went to my manager. I said, there's this new thing called the internet that Al Gore says he invented. How about we use that to try and get business? And he said, no, no, no. Cold calling worked for me 20 years ago to build my client base. It was good enough for me. It's good enough for you. So I went back to my phones. In my spare time, I am a professional magician. I was reading a magazine, a magic magazine, trade journal, and there was a full page ad for a marketing course for magicians. I bought the course. I took the course. I doubled my prices to become the most expensive magician in Western New York, and I changed my marketing. I did not become any better as a magician. I didn't practice anymore. I didn't learn any new tricks. I just changed my marketing. And literally within weeks, I went from doing maybe one show a month to being the busiest, most expensive magician in my area. It was night and day difference. So I went to the guy who sold me the course, who a number of you know, named Dave D., who is now CMO of GKIC. I went to Dave and I said, would this work in my real job as a financial planner? He said, yes. I said, where'd you learn it? He said, 2 words that changed my life. He said, Dan Kennedy. I went to Dan. I did a consultation with Dan back before you had to buy a $20,000 consulting day, back when he still did consultations. And I said, here's my problem. And he said, you're doing everything your industry taught you, which is completely wrong. You shouldn't be cold calling. You shouldn't be interrupting strangers. You should be the guru at the mountaintop. They should be seeking you out, etc., etc. You all know what Dan teaches. So I said, how do I do that? Dan said, write me a really big check and I'll change your life. So I went home to my wife. Now you have to understand, in the span of the last 12 months in this story, my wife and I had gotten married, bought our first house, had our first baby, and she quit her job to become a stay-at-home mom. That all happened in 12 months. So that was a very busy year for us. So I went home and I said, I know you just quit your job to be a stay-at-home mom, and I know we just bought this house, but I need to go borrow more money than our mortgage to go hire this guy Dan. And she said, are you crazy? No way. She said a few other words that I'm not going to repeat. So the next day I came home and I said, honey, you don't understand. I really need to go borrow all this money to go hire this Dan. And she said, are you deaf? I said, no, yesterday. And she had a few other words in there. Every day for 30 days in a row, I came home and I asked my wife the same question, and she gave me the same answer. On day 31, she caved. She said, you better pray this works. And I hired Dan. In the first 2 years of working with Dan, he increased my production as a financial advisor 435%, which is unheard of in financial services for those of you in that industry. At the firm I worked for, there were 6,700 financial advisors. When I started, I was 6,699th. For those of you who are bad at math, I was one up from the bottom. After 2 years with Dan, I was in the top 30 in the country, and I was competing against people who had been in business longer than I had been alive. So it worked. It worked really well. So I went to Dan, and I said, on my coaching call with Dan, I said, what do I do now? He said, you need to start a marketing company and do this for other people. I said, okay, that's interesting. The very next day, there are no accidents, I got a phone call from the VP of marketing of a very large national company that had a local office. And I won't tell you who they are, but it has something to do with your car, and you all are members of this organization. So he said, I can't use you as my financial advisor. My brother-in-law is my rep. But the lead generation magnet, the report you sent me, is better than anything we've got. Can we hire you for that? And I heard Dan's voice in my head saying, start a marketing company. So I said, I don't know, Mr. Smith. How big a check can you write me? He said, well, my budget for this project is X. I said, you can hire me for that. And that started Market Domination LLC, which started out as just me and has since grown to me and 28 fabulous team members. They were our very first client, and I handled everything myself. Now, obviously, we've got 28 folks who work here for me, doing a fantastic job for our clients. So along the way, Larry mentioned in the introduction, I wrote 5 best-selling books. My first one was about my original industry, financial advisor marketing magic. The second one is interesting. The second one is called Real Estate Marketing Magic, How to Sell Your Home or Investment Property in 2 Hours. And it's titled that because my wife and I were looking for a new house because we had 3 kids and we had outgrown our starter house. And she said, if you marketed our house like you market your clients, what would you do? And I said, that's a really good question. And I started writing down what a marketing plan I would do for a house would be. I executed the marketing plan. We had over 100. We live in Buffalo. This is not a hot real estate market. We had 100 people to the house. We had a bidding war, and we sold our house in 2 hours for way over asking price. That process is the book Real Estate Marketing Magic. The next book I wrote that Larry mentioned is Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, where I interview about 15 of the top direct response marketers in the world and get them to spill their secrets. There's a lot of great stuff in there. Then I wrote Online Marketing Magic, which is a book about primarily about search engine optimization. And my most famous book is The Facebook Ninja, which is what we're here to talk about today, which is how to double your sales by legally stealing your competitors' customers. So let me give you some examples of case studies of what we've done for actual clients and actual results that we've got. So this is a company called freedomsurvivalsecrets.com, and they are in the emergency preparedness business. They started a brand new Facebook page, and in order to market effectively, you need a fan base, because if an ad shows up in your newsfeed and it says 0 people like this, you're not going to click it because you want social proof. So the first campaign we ran for them was what I call a cheap like campaign, and we're going to teach you how to do this. A cheap like campaign is just designed to build up your fan base as cheaply as possible. The reason why this is cheap, and we got 650 likes for 6 cents each with a 9% click-through rate. By the way, anything over 1% on Facebook is good. That's what you're looking to. That's your baseline. You want a click-through rate of over 1%. 9% is stellar. So the reason why we were able to get such a high click-through rate and such a low cost per like is because we used our credit card data to run this ad in front of people who are customers of a company you may know called Survival Life, run by Ryan Dice and Perry Belcher. So Ryan and Perry were nice enough to build up a 600,000 person customer list of people buying survival products that we then advertised in front of. We have since generated a whole lot more fans, but this is just the first ad that we ran that worked really well, so that's why I'm showing it to you. This is another company you may know, Greg Presti, who's a Titanium member with Dan Kennedy. His company is called Local Search, and we have played a little part in helping them get to the Inc. 500. Greg primarily grew up serving dentists, doing local search engine optimization for dental practices. So this is Greg's ad for getting dentists to drive to his website to opt in for a free white paper and a free video that ultimately will then take them through a funnel and sell them his SEO package. Well, because the credit card data works, we can see what they buy, but we can also see what shows up on your credit report. So that means I can see where you work, I can see what you do for a living, I can see how much money you make because you pay taxes on it, I can see how much your home mortgage is worth and how big your house is, I can see your car loan, when you bought it, what make and model it is, and what you paid for it. So Greg said, I want dentists. So we pulled all the dentists by profession. Then he said, I want dentists who are interested in marketing. So then we went and we found dentists who were buying Dan Kennedy books, Michael Gerber E-Myth books. They were buying Stick Like Glue books. They were buying guerrilla marketing books. They were attending conferences. They were customers of Dustin Burleson or Tom Arendt. So we were making sure they were dentists. We were making sure they were interested in marketing. And then we qualified them for income because we wanted to make sure that they could afford to hire Greg. We drove 16,502 of those dentists to his website. The click-through rate was 5.5%, but the cost per click for each dentist was 5 cents. You can't get anywhere close to those numbers on Google anymore. You would have had to have done this 15 years ago on Google to get clicks for 5 cents, and you couldn't have targeted dentists that specifically. You could have targeted people searching for the keyword like dental marketing. See, that's the difference between AdWords and this. AdWords are normal pay-per-click. It's based on a search term. Someone might type in dental marketing and your ad shows up in the search engine. This is different. We're going for people based on what they bought. So they're not searching for something, they bought something. So searching people do research maybe before they buy. And they might buy, they might not buy. But people who buy things buy more things. The best time to get them to buy something else is to get them when they're buying something the first time. That's what we did for Greg. This is an example in the alternative. Yep.
Let me just ask you a question. You just brought up a comment. So I'm just curious, with your best customers, are you guys literally helping them analyze data in real time? Because you're figuring out a buyer. I know for a fact with direct response, if someone is in the market for something and they buy a book or they buy a course or they buy something, chances are very high they may buy something else
Right.
in that time frame where they're in heat, so to speak. So
Yes.
is that what you're doing with your clients? Is monitoring all this stuff in real time in the background and then serving up
Yes.
these offers and stuff?
Yeah, we can see data within 24 hours of when it happens. So it's not they bought it 2 minutes ago, but you can't get any closer to 24 hours. That's as close as we can get. But think about that. They bought eMyth Dentist yesterday, and they're a dentist, and they make $100,000 a year. That is probably the exact right time to hit them with another offer. Does that make sense?
Okay, absolutely.
Okay. So this is an example for Dr. Carolee Johnson. She is an energy healer. Um, Her offer was we were giving away 30 minutes of your first session free, and the session's an hour. So it's basically a 50% off deal. We ran that ad, and as you can see in the slide, 48 people signed up for it. So she got 19 people to like it, 3 people to talk about it, 4 people to share it, but 48 people signed up and said, "I want a session." And she said, "Oh my God, you got to take my ad down. I can't handle 48 people at once. You need to pause it for like a month so I can catch up," which is my favorite problem to cause. So what do you have to do to pull this off? You need to take your customer email list, and if it's not a custom audience in Facebook already, it should be. And you need to run a cheap like campaign like I showed you in front of them because all your customers are not your fans. Then you need to run another cheap like campaign in front of your customers' friends because you can say, I want to run in front of friends of these people because then you've got social proof. So if Larry runs an ad in front of me that says, Tony Robbins likes this and you should too, I'm going to click on it and like it because Tony's endorsement as a friend of Larry's is good enough for me. That's social proof. The next thing you want to do is you want to clone your customers. We talked about running our algorithm through your customer database to identify their buying patterns. You may think you know what your customers are like, but I guarantee you there's data about them you don't know. So Russell Brunson, who I was talking to yesterday, may know that his customers for internet marketing products also buy internet marketing from Frank Kern, and they also buy from Ryan Deiss, which makes sense because we're all selling different versions of how to do internet marketing. However, he may not know, and I'm making this part up because we haven't analyzed his customer base yet, he may also not know that the majority of his customers drive pickup trucks. He may not know that they buy organic food at the grocery store, that they have 2 kids, that they live in a $300,000 house, that they are also buying books on personal development. He may not know that they all are buying a certain food product. They're not attending a certain conference that has nothing to do with marketing. So they're completely new markets where you can market your services to where your customers are hanging out, but you just don't know it because you can't see where else they spend their money, but we can tell you. And then you also want to run a cheap like campaign in front of your ideal customer. So Russell would say, okay, clone my list. And I also want people who are buying from Frank Kern, Ryan Deiss, and Davin Michaels. So once you've got them to like you, and that's an opt-in on Facebook, basically. They're raising their hand and saying, I give you permission to show up in my news feed and send me ads. They may not realize they're signing up for ads, but they are. So you've got to get them engaged and talking about you and talking to you, which is a post-engagement ad for those people. Once you've got them to like you and talk about you, the next step is to make some money and monetize it by running an offer ad, which is, hey, go here to get this free video series, or sign up for a free strategy session, or go watch this free video series that's a Jeff Walker product launch formula video style sales letter that's going to, you're not going to tell them that, but that's going to take them through to get them to buy something, or register to attend this free webinar. So you've got to get them to do something to take the next step and to go off of Facebook and into your funnel powered by Infusionsoft or Marketo or Eloqua or whatever you're using. And then people always ask me, how often should I post on Facebook? In my ideal world, you post every day. It takes you 5 minutes. You don't need to post about your business every day. If all you post is real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, people will get turned off and they will not pay attention to you and they may unfan your page. Because think about it, if you walked up to in a cocktail party, a networking event, and you walked up to people you had never met and said, hey, I'm Ron LeGrand, buy my Get Rich in Real Estate course. And they said, my name is Joe. Shouldn't you have asked what my name was before trying to sell me something? And all you're doing is selling stuff. They will cart you out of the networking event pretty fast. Security will drag you out. So you have to build a relationship first. So that's why we tell people we track billions of data points every day, and the combination we've found is 80% warm and fuzzy content. So it might be related to what you do, but it's not directly a go buy my stuff. It might be a tip or a trick or a video, but it's not go buy my stuff. 20% of the time should be go buy my stuff, because the 80% warm fuzzy content earns you the right to say you can go buy my stuff now. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So let me give you some other case studies of some campaigns that we've done. So again, this is Jack Canfield. Earlier this year, we worked on his bestseller Blueprint launch that he did with Stephen Bill Harrison. This is one of the ads. You'll notice it's a newsfeed ad, so it takes up a lot of space. It's got a big picture of Jack, who's the credibility behind it, and then obviously free author training with Jack Canfield. Click here, and a link for them to go sign up. And obviously the link is a affiliate link, and we had hundreds of them, so we could track every single ad, how many opt-ins and ultimately sales did each ad generate. So we could track ROI down to the individual ad. Now, obviously, you're not all Jack Canfield, and you don't all have a built-in 500 million book sales and millions of fans, so you might have to skew these numbers down a little bit, but we did get 766,000 people to see the ad based on our promotion of it. 12,000 people liked it, 900 people commented, and 3,000 people shared it. But the better part was we ran 200 different campaigns for Jack based on different target markets we were going after, different ways of slicing and dicing that credit card data. And one really good performing one was, think about it, the product bestseller blueprint was all about how to write your own best-selling book. So who wants to write a book? Well, if you have a subscription to Writer's Digest magazine, you are probably interested in writing. So 13,000 257 Writer's Digest customers saw the ad. 553 people clicked to that website, but 270 people opted in, which meant we had a 48% opt-in rate, which is awesome. 452 people shared it on their own Facebook pages, and he only paid $250.95, less than $1 an opt-in for those opt-ins. We ended up driving several $million in sales for this launch, and the bestseller blueprint folks were very happy customers. In terms of butts in the seats at live events, this is Brian Raleigh. He is a financial advisor through Matt Zagula's group. And he said, hey, listen, I'm in Raleigh, South Carolina, and the IBM server division in my town is merging with Lenovo. So there are all these employees who have to make a decision about their pension and their 401k in the next 60 days. How do I reach them? I got built-in urgency. I got built-in scarcity. They have to make a decision. How do I get in front of them? And unfortunately, there was no traditional media form to do it. You can't buy a direct mail list of IBM employees. They protect their data. We tried advertising in the IBM employee newsletter, but they don't take outside ads because they have their own financial advisors that are affiliated with them that they don't want to take business away from. So he said, man, this is a gold mine if I could just get in front of these people. Well, if we use our credit card data, we can see where you work. So we found 5,000 IBM employees in Raleigh. Now, not all of them were server division people. There was no way to tell what division at IBM they worked for. But we ran a cheap we created a Facebook page for IBM transition. We ran like ads in front of the 5,000 people saying, like this ad if you're an IBM server employee. So they identified themselves as being the right employee. And then we drove them to attend we wrote a free report, the 7 biggest mistakes IBMers make when taking their pension. And we did a press campaign and got Brian written about in Forbes magazine. So he's got street cred. So he has a website with the free report, Infusionsoft powered opt-in form. Sign up for the free report and find out when Brian's next live event is. We had like over 150 people sign up for the free report. He did seminars every week for like a month. We had over 31 people from our end go through his seminar. He's a very happy camper and hired us and said, you know what? This was a temporary campaign because we could only run it for 60 days. I'd like to build something evergreen that works just as well. So we are now building other retirement classes and workshops that he's doing, but we're targeting them very specifically so that we get amazing results. This was a teleseminar we did on how to increase your productivity. And we got 28 people from one ad who signed up for the teleseminar for $53.52. So literally it was $1.91 per person to show up on that teleseminar, where the woman who did it was pitching a several $1,000 info product, which was then an upsell to live consulting. So what are the 5 keys to success on Facebook? People ask me this all the time. It seems like so much work. What do I do? So the first thing is you got to post every day, preferably non-business related content. You can't just sell your stuff every day or people will tune you out. Number 2, you want to grow your fan base with a cheap like campaign in front of your customers. You want to clone your customers based on their purchase data and run a cheap like campaign in front of those people. You want to run a page post engagement ad to get people to talk about you. Here's a tip. Facebook has a little... Anytime you're on your fan page and you write a post, Facebook has a little button that says, would you like to boost your post? Never, ever, ever do that. It's a giant waste of money. Facebook will spend your money as fast as they possibly can, as broad as they possibly can. Even the targeting options they give you in Boost Your Post are not the same that you could get elsewhere and don't access the credit card data. So you're basically wasting your money. So if you learn nothing else, don't hit Boost Post. And then, of course, you want to make an offer so that you can monetize and sell your stuff. So the question becomes, how do you get this all implemented in your business? Because most likely you have a Facebook fan page already. You have someone, if you're not, you're most likely very successful. You have somebody doing this for you or a company that's doing it for you, but they're not doing what we're doing. Or, God help you, you're trying to do it yourself. So I could take 8 hours. I've got 8 hours of recorded video that will teach you how to do all this. And my consulting time is currently $800 an hour. So that would be a value of $6,400 were you to hire me for 8 hours of consulting. We also have 8 CDs of those audio recordings so that you can listen in your car or on your iPhone. We've got 8 DVDs of those videos so you can watch as many times as you want, or your staff or the company that you're working with can watch those and get trained. We also transcribe all 8 hours of that so you can read it all, because we know, listen, some people watch videos, some people listen, some people read. I read. It's funny, I bought access to, I don't know, whatever the launch was like a month ago. It had like 40 hours of video content or something in it, and I bought access to that. I didn't watch a single video. I read 40 hours of transcripts because I can't watch the video because I don't have time at work. And when I go home, my kids are ruling the computer. My son is playing, my 7-year-old son is obsessed with Minecraft. And if he's not using the computer, my wife is using it for her parent-teacher association stuff. So I never get to touch my computer at home. And if I'm watching video, let's say if I watch it on my iPad, my kids will interrupt me. But I can read because I can print it out and read it. And I can read while I'm multitasking. I can read while I'm doing something. I can read while other people are using the electronic stuff. So for me, transcripts work. But everybody's different. That's why we include all 3. We also have software that scrapes the user IDs out of Facebook groups. So let's say there's a Facebook group of your ideal customers. Like, for example, my brother-in-law is a chiropractor. And he is in Loudoun. He has an office. One of his offices is in Loudoun County, Virginia, and his ideal patient is a affluent Loudoun County housewife. Now, there is actually a Facebook group called The Real Housewives of Loudoun County. Obviously, there's no TV show for them, but they based it on the TV show. Now, he can't go in and place an ad in front of that group because it's a closed group. But we've got software that will extract out all of the user IDs of all of the Facebook members of that group, and then he can upload that as a custom audience and run an ad to those people and acquire those customers dirt cheap in a way he couldn't any other way. That software normally sells for $307. We'll give it to you for free. We also have a library or a swipe file of all of the ads we've done for our high-level clients. Jack Canfield, Ron LeGrand, Greg Presti, all of these folks showing here's what works, here's what we did that didn't work, so you can learn not to do it, because managing billions of points of data and all of these ads, we learn what works and what doesn't, so you can avoid our mistakes and shortcut your learning curve. We also have a special Facebook ad writing course. You can't use traditional direct response media the way you normally would. Facebook is a different form of media. So you can't write a 32-page long form sales letter on Facebook. You can't put up a 90-minute animated doodle video on Facebook. It doesn't work the same way. You might have one sentence for a cheap like ad and at the most a paragraph for a click to website ad. So you've got to follow direct response marketing principles, but you have to convert them to what works in this new form of media. So we have a course that teaches you how to do all that. I also lead an in-person marketing mastermind group. For 3 hours every month, I teach our cutting edge marketing magic. Not just our Facebook stuff, but everything we do. That group meets in person, but you can have access to the virtual version of it, which we sell for $2,364, which means every month in the membership site, you get access to the 3 hours of video, the PowerPoint slides, and if we're teaching you a specific campaign, we give you all of the Word docs, JPEGs, literally everything you need to go execute it for yourself. And if you want, you can fly into cold Buffalo and participate live, or you can stay home in your sunny, warm climate wherever you are and just watch the video. We also do a search engine optimization audit, which we normally charge $1,000 for, to find out why your website ranks where it does, why it doesn't rank where it's supposed to, and how you can fix it without hiring some SEO firm and spending tens of thousands of dollars. So you probably have SEO done for you already, but with all the algorithm changes this year, you'd be surprised on, no matter how good they are, what they're missing. We also throw in a copy of my best-selling book, Cutting Edge Marketing Magic, a copy of my best-selling books, Financial Advisor Marketing Magic and Real Estate Marketing Magic. And if you don't have these already, I think you should have these 3 books from Dan: No BS Direct Marketing, The Ultimate Sales Letter, and Marketing to the Affluent. We also include email access to me, so you can ask me any questions you want. We also include a brainstorming session monthly where you get to talk to me and work on your stuff directly with me. And we also include separate 2 critiques of your Facebook ad campaigns. Again, I spend an hour on each one, so it's legitimately $1,600 worth of value. If you add all of that up, it's $15,155.55. Now, you're not going to pay me that because you don't have time to do all of this. You're very successful. Otherwise, you wouldn't be connected to Larry. So you just want it all done for you, which is what the point of all of this is. So we do it all for you. We do the credit card targeted ads to increase your fan base, increase your engagement, and get you new customers. We do the customer cloning system by running the algorithm through your list and telling you who your customers really are. We help you create the monthly offers to attract new customers. We do the graphic design, the copywriting, and the creative. We do the monthly reporting and showing you what results you're getting. We normally charge $9,997 a month for that service, and it's a bargain at that because of all the manual labor we've got to do and because of the results we're delivering for our clients. But Larry told me that was not good enough. He said, I appreciate that, but this is saying you've got to come up with a killer, brain dead, absolute amazing offer. So we went back and forth on the pricing like 4 times. He twisted my arm and got the lowest I can go for Larry is $5,997 a month. Now here's the good news. You don't have to pay that either. You also pay the ad spend that goes to Facebook. We don't charge an agency commission or a markup on that. But here's how you can get the $59.97 reduced. If you've got an affiliate program and you're willing to make us an affiliate, that is, you're going to pay us the affiliate commission on every product or service we sell for you, then I can lower the $59.97 by the amount of that affiliate commission because we'll make it up on the back end. So for example, Jack Canfield, his fee was reduced to 0 because we were getting a commission on millions of dollars in sales, and he had a funnel that highly converted. Davin Michaels doesn't necessarily pay a monthly fee because, again, if you've got an incredibly optimized funnel that's really highly converting and you're willing to be generous on the affiliate commission, we can work really cheaply because we'll make it all up on the back end. If you don't have that, or if you don't want to share, which is totally fine, I'm a greedy bastard myself. If you don't want to share, it's a straight $59.97 plus the ad spend. The guarantee that we've got is we don't do long-term contracts. So you're not signing up for 12 months. And if it doesn't work out, you're stuck. You're not committing, you're not writing us a $100,000 check or anything like that. It's literally 30 days at a time. You can quit anytime you want. but you won't because it works. So there is no commitment. The most you're committing to is 1 month. At the end of 1 month, if you're not happy, you can cancel. I will warn you, sometimes it takes a little while to dial things in. Like, for example, Davin Michaels, the first week we got sales and we proved the concept that we could generate sales, but it was costing him $100 in ad spend to acquire a customer. And he said, you got me sales, but $100 a customer on this particular funnel is way too high. Can you get it lower? He's got funnels. If he's selling a $50,000 mastermind group, he'll happily pay $100 a customer. But for that funnel, it was a low end funnel, so $100 was too high. It took us 6 weeks, but in 6 weeks, we went from $100 a customer to $18 a customer. We reduced his cost per customer by like 80%. And at $18 a customer, he's profitable and happy, and then said, okay, how many customers can you get me? Sign me up. So it may take us a little while to get everything dialed in between the ad, the landing page, the funnel, the follow-up sequence, and helping you work on all of that as part of this. The caveat is there's a whole lot of manual labor, so we can only we are not infinitely scalable. This isn't virtual. We have physical people physically doing all of this. So we can honestly only accept 12 more clients at that level. If you're interested in getting one of it's first come first serve. If 24 people sign up, I will literally refund the money and we'll take off the add to cart button or refund money and legitimately close it because I can't handle anymore. If you sign up and then you decide to give us an affiliate commission, I'm comfortable. We can negotiate it later, like a couple days later. If it turns out that you punched in your credit card for the $5,997 and because of the affiliate commission that fee got reduced to $3,000, I'll just refund your card the other $3,000. So don't worry about it. I'm flexible there. If you're interested, you want to go to ultimatemarketingmagician.com/Benet, Benet, and you will see the add to cart button and the details. You can click it and let's get started. Otherwise, you can ask questions in the GoToWebinar chat box, or you can email me. My email, you know what? I didn't put it on here. It's Seth. I'll type it in the chat box. It's Seth at marketdominationprogram.com. And you can email any questions you have. I will just warn you, and I'll put my cell phone on here too. I will warn you two things. One, I live on the East Coast. I have 3 little kids who go to bed early. So if you're calling me tonight, don't call me too late because I'll be putting them to bed and my wife will get pissed at me. But you can call me, you can email me. The only caveat is there's only 12 slots. They're going to be gone relatively quickly. I actually should change it. I have 2 people who emailed me this morning who said they wanted them, who Larry emailed ahead of the webinar. So technically we've got 10. But I'm going to stop talking for a minute and open it up for Q&A.
Got it. Okay, let's see here. Now, Jose Espana was saying something about you can't scrape user IDs or something. It's against Facebook terms of service or something like that.
That is true, but it depends. So it depends on the software that is a big controversy right now in the Facebook marketing community. There are software programs that Facebook has said you cannot use, and that part he's right. There are programs that still work. So is that going to work forever? I don't know. Right now, there are programs that are doing it kosher. They're doing it that it's okay. The program we use is okay. If you don't want us to use that program for you, that's totally fine. If you don't want a copy of it, you don't want to use it, you don't feel comfortable, I'm totally cool with that. Our program is not the success that you saw. It's not based on us extracting user IDs. It's based on targeting based on the credit card data. The ability to extract user IDs is honestly a bonus and isn't required. And if you're not comfortable using it, it will not affect your results at all. It's just an extra bonus. So that is an excellent question, and I totally resonate with that, Jose. Not a problem.
Let me share one thing that we haven't even discussed that I'll just share kind of as a secret sauce due to my connections. As a matter of fact, I introduced Seth. We happen to have a relationship with the largest performance ad network in the world in terms of display ads. So I don't want to take it off course, but bottom line is leveraging the technology and the capabilities and the marketing expertise that Seth has, not leads, the targeted customers and prospects and stuff like that.
Sure, yeah, we are working on that deal as we speak. They literally serve more ads than Google does. They cover 97% of the internet. That's how big they are. And they were really excited to hear what we had to offer, and we're currently working out our arrangement together. But the concept is putting our data targeting and then capturing them other places. So not just Facebook, but driving the lead from Facebook, capturing them somewhere else, cookieing them somewhere else, and then retargeting them all over the internet. Not just the retargeting you can do with Facebook or Perfect Audience or AdRoll, but the retargeting you can do with this company because they have a bigger reach than anybody else. And they also have their own targeting. It's not credit card data, but it's one level behind that. So when we combine the two, as they put it, we're going to be off to the races and be able to deliver a marketing experience and deliverability in terms of results that no other company can match. So we're really excited about that. They're working on testing their data for some of our clients starting soon. We're going to be testing our magic in bridging the API between our program and theirs. And like I said, when that works, we're going to rip the cover off the ball.
Hey, Seth, let me ask you a question. Jose was asking about, can you market financial products on Facebook like trading courses? I would think you could, right?
As long as it's okay, so I came from financial services, so I've got some inside info on that. So it depends on how you market it. The answer is technically yes. If you're selling a trading course like an info product, that's what it would be perceived as, you're fine. If you're selling trading software, you're fine. And we do a bunch of work for a number of financial advisors like you saw Brian as one example. If the caveat goes like you have to file, if you're, let's say, a licensed financial advisor, then your compliance department has to approve everything we create for you ahead of time. So you can't go buy Exxon tomorrow, everybody, and do an ad and try and drive up the price of your Exxon stock. That's illegal. However, if you were a financial advisor and you could say, I'm doing a seminar and you should come attend, or hey, you should plan for retirement, that type of stuff that's approved by a compliance department, as long as they've approved it, is kosher. But in terms of selling info products or courses or trading platforms, we've done that for some other clients. That's fine because it's for quote unquote educational purposes only, and you're not professing, or in newsletters we've done, you're not professing and you have a disclaimer. You're not saying this is investment advice. You're saying it's entertainment purposes only. You're fine. Obviously, I'm not a lawyer, but as long as you're doing that, you're okay. It just comes to the point where you can't necessarily make an investment recommendation unless they're buying a newsletter subscription that is hypothetically for entertainment purposes only. So as long as you're careful, you should be fine.
Let me see if there's other questions coming in. Jose, let me know if that was answering and addressing your question. Yeah, okay. Let's see if there's any other questions we missed. Any more questions?
I've got an email question if I can answer it.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got a question that says, um, why wouldn't it sounds too good to be true? That's understandable. Why wouldn't it work? Okay, so the reason why it wouldn't work. So for examples of, we've had a couple clients that it didn't work for. Um, One would be if the cost to acquire a customer was too high, if we couldn't get it low enough to be profitable. So that's an issue of, for whatever reason, that target market just costs too much to reach. The other reason it wouldn't work would be if your landing page and follow-up sequence or funnel weren't congruent with the ads we created, which is why we need to see them first, or if they just didn't convert. So, for example, we had a company that was in the mortgage business, mortgage originator. I've had two. One we've achieved phenomenal results for, getting people to fill out loan applications online, targeting them based on how much money they've got, that they're likely to move, it's that type of stuff. And that worked really well. I had another mortgage company that didn't work out for. And it didn't work because their lead generation magnet was a free report about, let's say the 8 strategies for negotiating your dream home. They had 5 different free reports. The problem with it is they used a straight lead page that just had a picture of the report in an opt-in box. And it was pure, simple, just a pure squeeze page. Now, in like an internet marketing world, that would totally work. I've got squeeze pages like that that work great and convert well. The problem is you were driving residential consumers looking for a mortgage to go get a free report that honestly the lead page looked like amateur. It looked like some internet marketing thing that was put up yesterday. And consumers who are looking for a mortgage online are used to going to like quickenloans.com, like a giant site with tons of pages and data and corporate credibility and banners and ads on it from corporations and tons of information and lots of interactivity. So that's what they're used to seeing. So we drove them someplace that unfortunately was provided by this company, but it didn't look anything like what they were used to. So nobody, the signups, the opt-ins were incredibly low. So we told them, you know what, this is what they're used to seeing. Can we add an opt-in page onto your regular corporate site? Because it's a national mortgage company. They have one of those huge giant sites. I said, can we add pages on there for each report on your site so it looks professional and credible? And for whatever reason, they didn't do it. So that didn't work out because they weren't willing to match the bait to what their prospects wanted to see. So that's where our research comes in, is we can see everybody's funnels and see the data points of who's advertising what and what's converting so that we can say, hey, listen, this probably isn't going to work. You need to change it before. Otherwise, you're going to waste your money.
Well, you guys are obviously doing a lot of testing too. So at the
Yes.
end of the day, like you said, with Davin right out of the gate, you're able to get, sales, but you're a real. I mean, listen, anything with direct response is always going to be testing to get the ideal. They're kind of necessary things that savvy, successful marketers, want to ultimately drive their funnel and leads and fill up their, whatever they're trying to sell. So
Exactly.
let me see if there's any other questions here. Let's see.
Oh, I've got another one. If we sign up for the done for you version, do we still get access to everything else? The done for you version is really the only one that we're offering right here. If you really, really want to learn how to do it yourself, we will make that available. You can get it. And we have sold that. I will issue the caveat. If you implement it, you will do better than you're doing now, but you won't do as good as if we did it for you, obviously, because we're the experts. However, will we still give you access? What we will do, like I'll still send you my book. I'll still give you access to the mastermind group. I'll still give you the critiques. We'll still give you access to tons of stuff. So don't worry about it. We will take care of you.
Very cool. All right. I don't think. ultimatemarketingmagician.com/Benet. And this way you guys can follow up with Steph accordingly. And I hope you guys found that of great value. And we look forward to another future webinar with future great thought leaders with great insights like Seth shared. So Seth, on behalf of the same community, I want to thank you for sharing your wisdom and knowledge and your unique insights. I found it very valuable. So thanks everyone for being with us, and we'll talk again soon. And have an amazing day, everyone, and may you connect and grow rich.
Thanks for having me.